Hello, my dear friends. How are you doing? Hope you are having an amazing day and not having to deal with drama. Ready for new stories I have for you today? Let's go to the first one. And don't forget to listen to the end of the story, guys, to hear my insights. Enjoy the stories, and don't forget to like and subscribe. And of course, don't forget to leave a comment. My name is Eric. I'm 32, and I've always tried to live a life of integrity. I don't wake up dreaming of overnight success. I have a stable job in corporate finance. It's not glamorous. It's 8 to 5. It has its frustrations, but it puts food on the table, covers my bills, lets me support the life I'm building with the woman I love. I've poured my energy into being steady, reliable, honest. Love your work, love your life, let your efforts compound over time. That's my philosophy. My younger brother, Aiden, has always been a different story. From the time he could speak, he was already visionary. He talked about building empires, launching startups, disrupting industries, often at the family dinner table. As a kid, he'd take apart and rebuild gadgets. In high school, he launched a small online shop customizing accessories. When everyone else had summer jobs mowing lawns, he was sketching business plans in his notebook. My parents were thrilled. They praised him constantly. He's our future. He's got fire in his blood. Just wait, he'll do something amazing. They never said the same for me. I got gentle encouragement. You're dependable. You have a good work ethic. Maybe you're not cut out for speculation, and that's okay. But always the reminder, I was in some way less audacious, less bold. I absorbed that. I rationalized it. I told myself that not everyone has to be an entrepreneur. That stability has its own dignity. But I always felt slightly lesser in the applause that was reserved for his potential. As he grew older, my parents began funding his ventures, sometimes quietly, sometimes openly. For a small cafe concept, for a tech prototype, for a subscription box. They refinanced their home to free up cash. They sold investments. They postponed retirement plans. When friends asked how they were paying, they'd say, "We believe in him." The refinancings turned into bigger stakes. They took a second mortgage. They tapped into equity. They drained savings accounts. In recent years, they've openly admitted their fear. If this business finally succeeds, it'll all be worth it. Even when it failed, which many did, they called it lessons, stepping stones, necessary setbacks. My brother's narrative always had a hero's arc. Mine had a safe path. In the meantime, I built my own life. I saved, invested, planned. I met Lisa, a kind, honest woman who shares my values. We dated for a few years, and I decided to propose last summer. When I told my parents about the engagement, they were happy. They hugged me, asked wedding details. They promised help. Then one evening, my parents called me. Their voices sounded anxious and excited at the same time. "Eric," my mom said, "I want to talk about something important." That talk turned into a long message about Aiden's newest idea, a hardware toolkit for smart home DIYers. He believed it could be the next big subscription gadget box. He claimed there was venture interest, prototypes nearly ready. His pitch was full of energy, optimism, and risk. They were enthralled by his confidence. My father's voice trembled when he said, "This is the one." We believe in him so much. Then they asked me to contribute, a large sum, to help secure the next production run. I said I don't have the money as I'm putting almost all of my saving towards the wedding. My mother paused, then said, "It's once-in-a-lifetime opportunity for him." My father added, "We thought you'd see the vision. We hoped you'd help him. Just postpone the wedding." That was when I realized they were asking me to sacrifice the joy of my life to bankroll his ongoing gamble. They were asking me to put his future before mine. I refused. I said honestly, "Mom, Dad, I've already committed so much toward this wedding, venue, deposits, guests. I don't have $50,000 lying around. I'm not funding Aiden's business over starting my life with Lisa." That's when the fallout began. The texts came. "You don't support your own family." Emails. "We're disappointed." "We believed in you." My mother's voice in a message. "It hurts that you won't put family first." "Are you jealous?" My father left a voicemail. "We may not attend your wedding now." Anger, hurt, betrayal, all of it swirled inside me. That night I cried. Not just for my wedding being threatened, but for decades of being the quieter child, the one held to a different standard. So, Reddit. Am I the asshole for refusing to postpone my wedding to help fund my brother's business? For standing firm in my life, and for risking that my parents won't show up? OP is absolutely not the asshole. What his parents are doing isn't just unfair, it's emotionally manipulative. They have spent OP's whole life building his brother up as this visionary, while minimizing OP's achievements. Even though OP has built a stable, successful life through hard work and consistency. Now they're essentially telling OP that his own wedding, the beginning of his life with someone who actually values him, is less important than his brother's next business experiment. That's not family love, that's obsession with a fantasy. And if they choose not to attend OP's wedding over this, they're the ones walking away, not OP. And now let's hear community's opinion. This story hit me in the gut. You've been the dependable child all your life, and instead of appreciating that, your parents used it as a reason to expect less from you emotionally, while giving your brother endless praise and financial support, regardless of how many times he fails. The fact that they took a second mortgage out for him, and now expect you to delay your wedding for his latest gamble is disgusting. And let's be honest, if this was reversed and you asked them to delay something for your future, they'd laugh in your face. You're not being selfish, you're finally setting a boundary, and that takes more courage than your brother's vision. What's painful here is that it sounds like your parents don't see you as someone with dreams of your own, only as a support system for your brothers. They're so wrapped up in the idea that he's going to make it one day. They can't see that you already have. You've done the hard work. You've built something real and stable. And rather than celebrating your wedding, they want to treat it like an inconvenience. Their loyalty to your brother's dream has crossed the line into enabling. You're not ruining anything. You're protecting your future. If they can't respect that, it's on them, not the a-hole. Honestly, it sounds like your brother has been given a blank check his whole life, financially and emotionally, while you've had to prove your worth every step of the way. And now, because you've built something solid, your parents think they can borrow your stability to fuel his fantasy. That's not love. That's entitlement. You have every right to prioritize your own wedding, your partner, and the life you're building. I know it hurts that they might not show up, but maybe it's better to start this new chapter with people who show up because they choose to, not because they expect something in return. I work full-time, and my wife, 35 female, barely works part-time since she can't handle full-time work. Whatever she earns, she keeps for herself and her personal expenses, and I pay for all of our living expenses. I'm content with this arrangement. She does have access to my personal account in case she ever winds up needing a bit of extra money, and my only stipulation is that if it's going to be over $150, tell me about it first. In the 5 years we've been together, there have been a number of times she's helped her friend buy birthday or Christmas presents for her kids. Once or twice she's been short on what she wanted to spend and has taken from my account to cover expenses. Cool, no biggie, because she told me about it beforehand, and it was never anything too extravagant. This year, her friend is needing help again, and my wife brought up helping her out, and she may need to borrow some money from me. I told her that was okay, but not to exceed $300 this year. I have a 16-year-old daughter from my previous relationship, and with our financial arrangement, my wife is hands-off when it comes to finances concerning my daughter. Her mother and I decided to split the cost of a used car for her for Christmas. My wife did her shopping for her friend's kids, and when she got home, she told me she exceeded the limit by a lot, like closer to $850 spent. When my wife told me that, I told her she had to take it all back and get cheaper things, and that I gave her a limit and why. My wife insisted she couldn't take it all back because she already told her friend what all she got, and her friend was over the moon. She felt it was unfair that less fortunate kids have to get less so my daughter could have a car, and asked that I talk about delaying the car purchase with my daughter's mother. I told her absolutely not. Since she wouldn't take them back, when she went to shower later in the day, I took her purchases and receipts and returned them myself. I was able to get cheaper generic versions of some of the items, but not all. My wife is unhappy about this, and has been cold after calling me controlling and unwilling to compromise. I think I compromise plenty, but my daughter comes before one of her friend's kids. Am I the a-hole? Not the a-hole, and I would kick her off the account. She agreed, and she broke the agreement. That was on her. And I would further explain that my obligation to my daughter far exceeds the wife's obligation to the friend, and that her failure to understand that, and that she took extra money from the account, is why she will no longer have access to that account. Not the a-hole. By your wife's logic, there will always be another family with less. I get that she wants to do something kind and generous for her friend, but by doing so, she is unkind to you and your daughter. This isn't a communal pot of money to share between the less fortunate. This is your money that you have earned and budgeted to support your daughter, who should absolutely be your priority. You've been more than generous already. You tried to resolve this through conversation first. You're not an a-hole here. Okay, to me, even paying $300 for gifts for someone else's family seems excessive. But $850? It's not your responsibility to cover for gifts for another family. Absolutely not the a-hole. Absolutely not the a-hole. Your wife's friend's daughter? Are you kidding me? There's generosity, and there's taking advantage of that generosity. This is clearly taking advantage. Do not put up with it. Your children come first. I'm 26 female. X is 28 male. We'll call him Tom. Tom and I dated for a couple of years, and my parents absolutely loved him, invited him to everything, and constantly talked about him like we were already married. Then, he found out he had a kid from a one-night stand from just before we started dating. I tried to roll with it for a few more months after that, but it was just too much to deal with too soon in the relationship for me, and I broke it off. I think it was for the best, though Tom desperately tried to get me to stay and enlisted my parents to talk me out of leaving. I told them to drop it, or I was going no contact for a while because I already had a lot to deal with. So they did. This was 6 months ago, and I have Tom blocked on everything. All the mutual friends know the score and are going to keep things separate, and I'm dating again. So I show up to Thanksgiving with my parents like usual, and guess who's sitting in the living room? Tom and kid. Male, 3 now, I think. He gets up all happy to see me, and I turn around and walk back again, get in the car, and go to my hotel. My mom calls and asks me where I went and why I left, and I told her she knows damn well why, and asked why Tom was there. She told me that they still consider him part of the family, and they love his son, and didn't want them to be alone for the holiday. When I asked why she didn't tell me ahead of time, she kind of stalled, and then admitted that she knows I don't want to see him, but that I obviously still love him, and they thought I could just see how great everything could be, and he and I could reconcile. That kind of infuriated me, not gonna lie. I didn't want to be a step-parent, or at least not right now, and not in this particular situation. It sucks, but I've processed it and moved on. I told my mom that what they did was wrong and really out of line, and that I was going home. Hoped their Thanksgiving with Tom was all they hoped it would be. Then I turned off my phone for the rest of the day. When I finally turned it back on, I had a slew of texts and voicemails, some from Tom using my parents' phones. I deleted them without listening to the whole message, and finally called my mom back last week after I had calmed down. She apologized for springing Tom on me, and I told her that she needs to stop hoping we'll get back together, and that I don't want Tom in my life. She admitted that they want to invite him for Christmas as well. Evidently, he now has sole custody of the kid, and my parents have been playing grandparent. I told her that any function Tom is at, I won't be at, and if they ever spring him on me again, that will be the last time we speak for a very long time. My parents are accusing me of being cruel by making them choose and giving an ultimatum with a side dish of, that little boy needs a family guilt. I don't care if they want a surrogate grandparent or be friends with Tom, but I don't want to be involved, and I'm hearing from a lot of people that I'm being a petty a-hole. Not the a-hole. The little boy has a family. Tom is his family. If they want to be a part of that family too, fine, but they can find ways to do it that respect your desire not to see Tom. Much less force you into their vision of that family when the entire reason you broke up was that you didn't want that. Jesus, not the a-hole. Becoming a step-parent is a huge undertaking, and not one that should be taken if you have any doubts. The only thing your parents are right about is that the child should have a family, but that shouldn't be your family. Your parents are interfering. Tom needs to focus on being a parent and finding a partner who wants what he wants. Him driving a wedge between you and your parents is manipulative. What happens when you meet someone else and marry them? What happens if you have a child? You have no say in how much contact your parents have with Tom, but you are absolutely right to set your own boundary. Not the a-hole. Your parents are being manipulative and untrustworthy by meddling and getting into the middle of your personal business. Also, Tom is a huge a-hole for ambushing and enlisting your parents into emotional blackmail by involving his kid from another relationship. Your parents are welcome to have that relationship. You're not required to be involved at all. My sister and her husband opened their own restaurant together on Friday. They had wanted to do it for years, but started the steps to take the plunge during our first lockdown. This meant a lot to my sister, who always wanted to be a business owner. Months ago, she had asked me to be there opening night with my family. I had promised her faithfully that I would. Our relationship has suffered a lot of late. I have always felt like I do more for her than she does for me, and it boiled over when 2 weeks ago she had asked to borrow some money, promising she would pay it back. I had asked her when she'd pay it back. She told me sometime. I told her it took months to pay me back the last time, and that Christmas was coming up soon, and this year was tight. She told me she knew, and she would pay me back in less than 2 weeks, and that the money was super important for making sure everything went okay opening night, because the deposit on something she had hired had increased without her realizing, and she didn't have the money available for it. I told her I wasn't sure if I trusted her to get me the money in 2 weeks. She couldn't believe I would bring up past issues at that moment, told me she was asking her big sister for help, and she would hope I would give it willingly. This made me more angry, and I asked her when had she willingly helped me with anything? When had she made a point to prioritize being there for me? She told me I was more stable than her, and nothing ever knocked me down. I pointed out that my miscarriage at 13 weeks had been devastating to me, and that was when I needed support more than ever. But she had been preoccupied with something else. That she had told me after she felt too awkward talking to me. Yet, when she had her first child, she had talked nonstop about her fear of losing her baby because I had a couple of years before that. We ended up not speaking, and then the opening of her restaurant came and I didn't show up. She was upset, mad, frustrated with me, and her husband told me she had waited and waited for me, had told other people I would be there, and then didn't show. I feel bad, and at the same time, I just don't know if I want to bother anymore. She frustrates me so much, but I love her at the same time. I know I let her down by not being there, and that's why I ask, am I the a-hole? Not the a-hole. It honestly sounds like an exhausting relationship, and showing up to a restaurant opening would have just brought all of your recent arguments back out. I'd also wager that she would have asked you for money again, this time in person. I don't know why people would expect you to turn up when you've had a major disagreement that wasn't resolved, which I don't think can be resolved unless your sister stops asking you for stuff and apologizes for how she handled your miscarriage. You probably just need to go low or no contact with her, because this doesn't sound like a good sibling relationship at all. Everyone sucks here. You said you'd go, and then you had a big falling out. Stuff happens, and honestly, she shouldn't have expected you, but you should have let it be known. Your word has to count for something, or people are going to start looking at you like you look at your sister. Not the a-hole. This is a classic example of youngest child dynamic. She has been helped and handed everything, and has no real perspective on what anyone else is going through. She just expects you to hand her money and support her with no regard to paying it back in a timely manner, or that you might actually need your money. Honestly, if she's opening a restaurant and can't even budget for the opening, I don't think it's going to work out anyway. Especially when she said she couldn't believe I would bring up past issues at that moment. Like, what the duck? That is what business is all about. Consistently being able to handle your finances. I am curious as to how she got her funding, though. Did she get a bank loan? My family, mom, brother, and sister, have asked me to remove, Photoshop, alter a large group photo from my 2016 wedding day that features my brother and his ex-girlfriend. The photo has about 100 people in it, many of whom I don't talk to anymore either, and is not displayed in a very prominent place in the house, i.e., one could easily avoid looking at it if they found it offensive. My brother and his new fiance's relationship has been plagued with insecurities, especially in the earlier stages of dating. I obliged them last Christmas by taking the photo down temporarily, and this past summer, when I hosted an outdoor barbecue, there was no need for anyone to be inside, so I didn't move the photo. My sister put a post-it note over the ex-girlfriend's face without my permission. My brother is starting to act weird about coming to my house this Christmas, not answering texts, hinting that he doesn't know if he can make it, and I suspect it's because of the freaking photo. Some additional context. My brother's point of view. His arm is around his ex and they are towards the front, center of the photo. He and the ex had a bad breakup, tumultuous relationship. His ex and his current girlfriend know each other from childhood and did not get along. He has volunteered to have it photoshopped. My point of view. The photo has 100 people in it. I am not displaying it because I have fond memories of this one particular person. It's a large photo, and I spent a lot of time and money getting it properly formatted and framed. I don't think my brother realizes what it takes to Photoshop, print, frame it properly. I think it's incredibly rude to go into someone else's house and ask them to change something. I haven't said it to him this bluntly. I'm torn between taking down the photo to keep the peace and standing my ground to end this madness. This conversation has been going on for 2 years now. If it was a photo of just me, my husband, and my siblings with their significant others, I would gladly take it down. But it has so many people in it and was the photo that I always wanted displayed in my house from my wedding day. Help! Am I the a-hole? Not the a-hole. They're being unreasonable. I agree with your reasoning here. It's a 100-person photo. They can all chill. Not the a-hole. But you should put effort into being one. Get the portion with your brother and his ex blown up to portrait size. Crop out everyone else in the frame. Have it digitally enhanced. Frame it. And put it in place of the original. Point out how great they looked on that day. Then he'll have a legitimate gripe with you, and you can do something to atone for it. Like taking down the portrait and putting the full group shot back up in its place. Not the a-hole. And to be honest, now they've made such a huge deal out of it, they're still going to feel the flooding awareness of his ex-girlfriend when they notice the bleak empty space where the photo used to be. The association goes beyond the photo at this point. If their relationship is so delicate that a group photo from 6+ years ago in someone else's house is going to wreak havoc, then I'm guessing the photo should be the least of their worries. It is incredibly rude to ask you to change something in your home, especially something so sentimental. I'd be petty and offer to Photoshop ex-girlfriend's face over all the wedding guests' faces, but we won't stoop that low. Okay, for some background. I was with my ex for a while, almost a year, and then we broke up because we simply wanted different things in the relationship. And before we broke up, we agreed to just be friends and nothing more. And I told her that she could come to me whenever she needed a friend to just hear her out or help her with problems. My ex has a lot of issues and has honestly been through a lot, and really doesn't have anyone in her corner that she can confide in with her problems, aside from me. My current girlfriend is very possessive, so when I told her my ex texted me asking if we could talk because she was going through it at the time, I told her yes, but she took a while to respond. And that night, me and my girlfriend and friends had went out and got drunk, and my girlfriend took my phone without me knowing until the next morning, that she basically told my ex to stay away and basically never contact me again, causing my ex to basically block me on everything. And I've been feeling a lot of guilt about it because I feel like my girlfriend could have gone about it a different way. And I just feel bad about what happened because she really has no one else to talk to about this. And I told her I would be there if she needed to talk to someone, and what my girlfriend told her was basically a big duck you to her face, when she really didn't deserve that. But I don't know. Would I be the a-hole if I sent my ex just an apology about everything? You would not be the a-hole, but you need to dump your current girlfriend. She put you in a crap spot over an old relationship that has turned into being friends. You offered your ex your support if she needed someone to talk to, and the one time she did reach out, your girlfriend sabotaged your relationship with your ex. Your girlfriend also took your phone without your permission. So, yeah, red flags. Not the a-hole. Your current girlfriend obviously has some insecurity issues that she needs to address with you rather than taking it out on your ex. However, I think you, along with many others, need to be realistic about how the relationship you have with an ex will affect current and future relationships. Your intentions are pure, but very few people are going to be completely okay with their partner still having a deeply personal relationship with their ex. Being friendly and on good terms is fine, but you can't be her crutch forever. In addition, you being that crutch is also likely preventing her from finding someone else who can fill that role. It's tough when you want the best for someone, but you are going to have to move on at some point. Again, that's not to excuse how your current girlfriend acted. You're the a-hole. I wish my partner would tell me to apologize to his ex. I cannot stand when someone calls their partner possessive just because they don't appreciate their partner giving their ex what you should be giving them. I mean, how much do you expect your partner to put up with? Now, I'm not saying your partner is right for doing this, but maybe it shows you you're not ready to be in a committed relationship. Your ex needs real therapy, not someone who doesn't understand that they're hurting their current partner just to soothe an ex. When you get in a new relationship, you cannot expect your partner to be okay with being there for your ex. There's a difference between having a friendly passing relationship and one where you go and comfort your ex. That's not your job anymore.